Good day everyone and welcome to sunny Adelaide. So Bentley has invited us all the way here to South Australia to experience not just their cars, but also what is it really like to be a Bentley owner, a Bentley driver, and just experience the very luxurious lifestyle. So for that, they've started it off by putting us in a very fancy hotel. This is called EOS by Sky City. And on top of that, there's also apparently a very special welcome dinner at an undisclosed location. So without further ado, let's go and check out what they have in store for us for the next few days here in Adelaide. So this here is a Bentley Bentayga, and if you look closely, it's actually parked beside a ton of wine barrels because we are actually in the wine cellar inside Penfolds Vineyard. For dinner, how cool is that? But I know what you're all really here for, so let's skip through the fancy fanfare and jump straight to our main highlight of the trip. So welcome everyone to day 2 of our trip here in Australia, and you join us here at the Ben Motorsports Park, which is basically Australia's latest permanent motorsports facility with a track that is designed basically inspired by many of the most successful tracks in the world. But of course, the reason we are here today is to experience this Bentley cars in full, and what a way it is for me to personally experience these cars for the first time on track. And well, we have almost every single model available in the Bentley stable, starting from the Flying Spur V8 all the way up to the most performance focused Continental GT Speed. So there are a lot of cars with us here today, but to me personally, this one here is really the best looking one, especially in this exterior color, which is called the Viridium, that comes as part of the Mullina's extended exterior color choices. And well, this green under the sunlight is really just beautiful, isn't it? I'm not sure if you can see it through the video, but just check out all of these small little diamond details in the headlights. And obviously diamond is kind of a Bentley's thing. And if you just have a look in the interior here, this is one of Bentley's signature touches, the diamond in diamond quilting. And just touching this leather and the feel of everything, it just shows the level of workmanship, the level of craftsmanship in every single Bentley, and all of this just adds to the unique feeling of sitting inside any Bentley. You just feel very special every single time you step into the cabin, step into the driver's seat. And yes, you do have the performance just right underneath your feet, but what you really want to do every time you step inside here is just to soak in all of the luxuriousness of the cabin itself. And well, if you make use of the Mullina's customization program, well, the cabin is exactly how you want it to be. And I think when you compare to all of the other Grand Tourers out there, I think the Continental GT is really the car that I want to be in if I'm doing a long distance journey. So we are starting our day off with a road drive in the GTC Speed, which is a convertible, but unfortunately, because it is actually currently raining right now, I can't put the top down to truly enjoy the convertible lifestyle. But that's okay, because after all, this is my first ever experience in a Bentley, and you know full well I'm gonna savor every single moment of it. Now, the Continental GT is a Grand Tourer first and foremost, and what that means is when you're driving along the highways, it's just a very comfortable place to be in. Obviously, there is a lot of performance under my right foot. There's this signature 6-litre twin turbocharged W12 engine in front of me, but when you're driving along on the road, that's not your main concern. What really stands out to me driving along the open roads here is just how comfortable the suspensions can actually be. And when you pair it to such a beautiful interior in here, oh, it's just a very, very pleasant place to be in, and I can see myself sitting in this seat driving for hours and hours on end without any complaints. And when you need the performance, well, just put your foot down. Now, something that I realized that is actually quite unique in the cabin is actually the steering wheel. Not only is it very chunky, which means it's nice to hold, especially over long distances, it's also made in two materials. On the outside here, there's this kind of Dynamica soft touch microfiber sort of material. As a result, the steering wheel just feels very soft, very comfortable to hold. And I think on longer distance drives, when you're just holding it slightly in your hand like this, it's just very easy to hold, very comfortable. It makes the driving experience feel a little bit more special. The amount of performance you can get just at the press of a pedal is incredible. And the W12 engine here really just makes everything feel a little bit more special, even though you're just driving along in normal traffic. Because when you move off from the traffic lights or turning into a split road, the moment you put your foot down to pick up pace, the sound just builds, and I mean, the W12's engine is really just very, very special. What an incredible machine, and with that much performance, I'm surprised at how comfortable it still is. Just looking at all of these different textures in the cabin, and the craftsmanship is truly next level. It was unfortunately raining throughout the day when we did our drive, so we won't have the opportunity to unleash the full 900 Nm of torque from the engine out here on the open roads. But luckily for our second leg of the road test, I got a chance to jump into a Bentley Flying Spur to ferry myself comfortably back to the circuit. Well, since it's a flying spur, I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy this one, to really just relax and take in what the car is really meant to do. And right away you can feel the difference in terms of suspension. This is a lot more comfortable, a lot more softer. And it's actually quite cold out here today, especially with the rain and the wind. But sitting in here with the seat heating on, with the steering wheel heating on, well, it's just incredibly comfortable in here. But at the same time, if you want performance, you can still have performance. Now, even though this is powered by the V8 engine, I think you still have plenty of performance and definitely enough for everything that you want to do. And while driving this, the world just feels like it's moving at a much more slower pace, a much more relaxed environment. Now, of course, being the big boss, you probably won't be sitting in this seat, but rather that one at the back. But you know what? Being a chauffeur driving this car, it really isn't that bad of an idea after all. But when you're driving near the outskirts, no matter which country you're in, these views are really the views that you'll remember for a lifetime. The way the car just glides when you lift off the throttle, it just feels so comfortable, so easy. So here's a quick look of all of the cars that we're going to be driving on track today. Starting from all the way on the left here, this is the Continental GT Speed, which is the sportiest, the most driver-focused Continental GT, or rather even the most driver-focused road-going Bentley out there. And beside that, this is the little baby. This is the Continental GT V8. And then we have the Bentayga Speed. It's actually going to be quite interesting to compare between the two because obviously they have a different powertrain underneath the bonnet. This here is the basic V8 engine, whereas the Speed here has the signature Bentley W12 twin turbocharged 6-litre engine underneath there. But aside from just powertrain, there's actually quite a lot of difference between the two cars. In terms of skill set, the Speed here has a more driver-focused approach to the car's chassis development, whereas this one here is perhaps more of a regular Grand Tourer. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how they compare out on track. And on top of these Continental GTs, we also have two Bentaygas here. Both of them are actually quite driver focused here, because on the left here we have the Bentayga Speed and on the right we have the Bentayga S. So let's see how they actually perform out on track. So as usual on all of our track drives here, safety is always the number one concern, and that's why I've got this full face helmet on. But also because it is actually raining quite heavily now, the surface of the track is going to be quite wet, obviously very slippery. On my sighting lap just now, I saw quite a lot of stagnant water actually across the track. So we're going to be taking it a bit slower today, which is a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. And well, we only have this one day to really test out the cars. So let's not put ourselves down. Let's go and experience what these cars have to offer, even on a wet track here. And actually, these cars have a very big benefit to them because all of them are actually all-wheel drive cars, and on a wet day like today, it's actually going to be quite useful to help us get around the track with as much grip as possible. So let's go and check out the car, shall we? So as you can imagine, driving around these multi-million-dollar machines around a soaking wet track means it's a full focus mode for me, and Being the absolute amateur that I am, I basically shut off my speech engine in my brain. So unfortunately, you'll have to deal with the post-event me talking my way through what we did. Anyway, we started off our track drive with the good old Continental GT. It's the least powerful car in the lineup here with only 550 horsepower and 770 Nm of torque. You'll be kidding yourself if you still think that's not enough, but in this context, it's the perfect opportunity for me to get to grips with the track and the slippery conditions. Now, even though it's a big heavy Grand Tourer, the Continental GT is still surprisingly agile on track. Well, or so we thought until I jumped into the Continental GT Speed.
So we're now in the basically the car that gave the event its name.
Setting off in the GT Speed, and the first thing you'll notice is without a doubt the 6-litre twin-turbo W12 engine. If not for its power, then for its glorious noise.
Right away you can feel the difference in terms of power. The W12 engine, the sound.
In this wet slippery track, the W engine is really just a little too much for the poor tyres to handle. A slight squeeze of the throttle coming out of the corner and the tail end just wants to step out. I guess that's also a side effect from the retuned all-wheel drive system, which sends most of the 900 Nm of torque to the rear wheels. It's just too bad that it's raining.
Next lap I'll go to sports mode for you, and you will feel the difference in suspension.
But what really surprised me here was how different the speed feels when compared to the normal Continental GT. Everything just feels a lot tighter and a lot more agile.
Beautiful. Now you'll feel the diff working out of here. Unwind the steering. Good. Back on the throttle. And brake for the left. And once again, now on the throttle, use all the exit.
In sports mode, the 48V anti-roll system works incredibly to resist body roll on this massive hunk of metal, making it feel like you are properly planted onto the ground.
Can feel the car trying to pull me back in when I'm a bit too eager on the throttle.
Who knew that a car weighing over 2.3 tons can be so fun to drive on track?
Yep, so we've driven the two Continental GTs and now we're actually going to switch up into an SUV. So this is the Bentayga S. This is my first Bentayga that I'll be driving.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
So this will be a little bit different.
Yeah.
But not that much different.
Okay.
Setting off from the pits in comfort mode, and well, the Bentley Bentayga S feels just like any other Bentleys. It's supple, comfortable, and in this cold weather, the heating on the climate control was exactly what I needed. But of course, we're not here just to cruise around, so once you switch it into sports mode, you can just feel everything tighten up once again.
The throttle response is a lot more sharper now.
Yes, absolutely. And it should be a lot stiffer too.
Yeah.
Come off the throttle, try the brake in, look for the cone and accelerate to the cone.
Right.
Come off the throttle, get it over on the cone, don't accelerate just yet. Now you can. If you go too early on that corner, you can drive yourself off the track.
Right, yeah.
It's no Continental GT, but the 48V anti-roll system again does such an incredible job here at hiding the massive SUV's weight.
Come off the brake and accelerate. Open the steering.
The all-wheel drive system here is a little different to that of the Continental GT Speed that we've just experienced, in that it's a little more fair with its torque distribution to the front and rear.
Front wheel drive doing its work.
Yeah.
But on such a big car, and especially on this kind of slippery surfaces, a little bit of extra front end grip is definitely much appreciated.
Get blown away by what this car actually does. It doesn't feel like we're in a car of this caliber and this weight.
Yeah.
It certainly hides its weight.
It does hide its weight, yeah.
It doesn't feel. It shouldn't be doing what it does.
Yeah.
And then we have the Bentayga Speed. But you know what? Let's just have a listen to what I had to say while driving it.
So, have you driven the other Bentayga?
Yeah. I drove that right before this.
Okay.
So yeah, this will be my last car of the day.
Last car of the day. Okay. The VAS on a dry circuit, you can really pick the difference between the two.
Yeah.
Probably what you'll pick most is the noise level within the car is reduced on this car. There is a difference in the chassis. On a dry track, you can really feel it. This is about 15% stiffer.
Right. Okay.
But you will probably feel a difference in the power too when it comes on.
Yeah.
And we're in sport mode.
Yeah, it's definitely quite a bit more powerful.
And in all honesty, I believe this car probably would spend most of its life in Bentley mode.
Right.
Because it performs very well as it is.
Yeah.
All right. Lovely. Open up the steering. Nice lines. You're doing very well.
Yeah, getting quite used to the track already.
Braking.
Yeah.
Off the brake. Turning in. Let the car travel out. Beautiful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shift this into sport mode.
Yeah.
Now for this first one, just wait till you get it in a straight line before you stand on it. And feed it in.
Oh wow, you can straight away feel the difference in. Yeah.
Just over 6 on each gear change.
Yeah.
And then roll out. Brake a little bit harder. Brake. So you can feel it's more sprightly straight away. Now the other thing that you notice there is in the braking zone it was down changing gears.
Yeah.
And you could feel it pulling down through the transmission. You can hear that there's a noise out of the exhaust now. There's
The
a
crackles.
verbal crackle on overrun. Your steering's now firmer, isn't it?
Yeah.
The car's now flatter as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially through
At
like
mid-range.
this. Yeah.
So just watch it through here, but then when you get it straightened up, go again.
Yeah, the throttle is a lot more eager as well.
Yep, it's very responsive on that throttle. There's those big down changes there. The thing that I like about the auto on sport mode is, yes, when you're braking, it's doing the down change.
Yeah.
But if you do a throttle lift, it'll hang onto a gear like you're driving a manual car.
Right.
So it's ready for you to pick up the throttle again. It hasn't dropped into a lower one to then go back up or...
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So there it's holding that gear for you at 4,500 RPM.
Yeah.
And now it's just pulled 6 and it's up another one. So it's very clever automatic trans. And then slowing down. There's that gear change going down. Apex, open up the steering. Little brake out. Turning in.
Yeah, it automatically downshifts, ready for the straight.
It's got it just right where you need to get back on the power.
Yeah.
Okay, and then rolling out. Onto the white line, lovely position, that's good.
You can feel the front wheel drive doing some work there.
So it's got a 60-40 split, and in these conditions, that 40% drive to the front is going to be helping pull us around the corner.
Yeah.
You can feel it, can't you, coming up on boost in that spot.
Yeah. Wow, doing this in an SUV is just...
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then braking. Yeah, SUVs shouldn't go this hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got 900 Newton meters of torque. It's crazy.
It's just a bit silly, isn't it?
Yeah. So just watch it here over the crest. Beautiful. Watch the white line there, down a bit deeper, then pulling it in. Excellent. I mean, obviously you're not going to be as fast in the wet as you are in the dry, but it still inspires a fair bit of confidence.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just surprised, in awe that I can do this even in such a big car in the wet.
Big car in the wet, car you haven't driven before, track you haven't driven before, with somebody you don't know in the car, and yet we're lapping quite quickly.
Well, you put a lot of confidence in me doing this.
I've been doing this for a little while, it's okay. So we're going to back it off now.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is we're going to go to comfort mode. Now, instantly you've seen the RPM has come down.
Yeah.
It's pulled it down, and now it's going to do all of its gear changes around this 1500, 2000 RPM mark. Feel the throttle response.
Yeah.
It's all placid, isn't it?
Yeah, it still
Right,
pulls, yeah.
Complete doughy mode.
Yeah.
The steering is softer, it's lighter.
Yeah.
There's more movement in the car, but the whole thing is more comfortable.
Right.
It's quieter, the exhaust is closed in.
Yeah, the exhaust is quiet too.
So we are now in full chauffeur mode.
Yeah.
Alright. So I think it's quite amazing the extremes between the maps.
Yeah.
Which are on comfort through
Yeah.
to sport.
Yeah.
The anti-roll bar in it is electronically controlled. So basically it's large coils that create a magnetic field, and obviously that magnetic field strength increases when you put it in sport.
Right.
So it creates more resistance.
I see. Okay.
Less roll. And so we've backed that 48 volt system right off now to give the car some more compliance.
Yeah.
Of course, now we're just riding.
Yeah.
And we've got that lovely
Yeah.
smooth ride.
You can definitely feel it's a bit more rolly.
Yeah, a little bit more movement.
Yeah. Like you said, the difference between the two extremes,
Yes.
and you can do it all in just one car.
Now there is also a ceramic brake pad, brake disc option for these.
Right.
But in all honesty, it's going to cost. You're spending over $500,000 on a car
Right.
anyway, but it's probably not that much more to go for it. But in my opinion, like, would you really need it in a Bentayga?
Right.
In a Bentayga, you probably go for buying a GT if you're going to go to that level of expense.
Yeah.
Because you're moving it further and further
Yeah.
away from an SUV.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
So the brakes on this are the standard brakes.
Standard brakes. Yep. So they're still massive.
Yeah.
They're quite an amazing car.
It is. Yeah, I mean, so today is my first day experiencing Bentley as a brand at all.
Okay.
I've never driven it before, but what a way to experience it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very
Cool. Thank you very much.
much.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
Right, so that's my day here done at the Ben Motorsports Park. And as a introduction to the Bentley cars over here, well, that was just an incredible experience. I know I probably should have brought a cap, but you know what, who cares, because the cars were just incredible to drive. Even in the wet here, all of these cars just performed really, really well. And in the slippery conditions with the all-wheel drive system, and well, it was a very, very fun experience. And well, hats off to the drive instructors, because with their guidance, they really do give us a lot more confidence. Take these cars that we never driven before and push it to that kind of limits on these slippery surfaces at a track that we don't know. And if you still can't see from my face, I really just cannot stop smiling after that experience. So thank you so much, Bentley, for bringing us out here to South Australia, to the Ben Motorsports Park, to really let us sample these cars in the best possible scenario. I mean, obviously aside from the rain, but what an incredible experience.